السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. إخواني أخواني متابعي قناة الأساتذة الجزائريين، نرحب بكم من جديد في فيديو جديد ودرس جديد إن شاء الله. So today's lesson is about how to write a lesson plan, how to write a good lesson plan. And I know that most of the teachers are looking for that lesson, are looking for to write a good lesson plan and steps that should follow when they want to write a lesson plan. So if you are looking for the way or how to write a lesson plan, this video is for you. So let's start, because I was trying each time to make a live video and there is a problem of internet. So I'm going to do it quickly and as possible as okay. So let's start with the introduction. Now I said before, and I'm going to repeat it, writing a lesson plan will ensure that you are prepared for your class and will make it run more smoothly, okay? And also, it is important to break the material up into several sections and choose activities suitable for each. Knowing approximately how much time an activity will take is also important. But after the first lesson, you may need to adjust things accordingly, okay? And it is best to be flexible, seeing as different classes will respond to material differently. If any point students struggle, or sorry, if at any point your students struggle, you will have to dedicate more time to instruction or drilling before moving to practice activities. Now, for the purpose of this example, let's assume that an English class is 45 minutes long, no more. Why that? Because sometimes when you enter to class, you see that our students sometimes waste from 5 to 10 minutes. So your lesson should be or when you are writing a lesson plan, you should take into consideration that wasted time, okay? So your lesson should be planned for 50 minutes or less than 50 minutes. Okay, now what are the steps or that you need to follow, or what are you going to write in your lesson plan? Now, first we have the warm up, or breaking the ice, as some teachers call it, okay? So a warm-up activity can be used in a number of ways. It can get your student thinking about material that will be used later on the class review, or sorry, in the class. Review material from a previous class, or simply get your students thinking in English, moving around or awake. This activity should only take up a small portion of your lesson, perhaps from 5 minutes to 6 minutes, no more. So this is concerning the warm up or breaking the ice. Now the next step, maybe you call it pre-reading or pre-listening or pre-speaking or pre-writing, but let's call it introduction or introduction. Now, can you have a good introduction? Now, a good introduction, or sorry, how can you write a good introduction? Now, I will answer you. A good introduction will create a need for students to learn the material you are going to present and get them interested in the day's topic. So this is a good introduction. Also, introduction is the part of lesson where the teacher does the most talking. So try to get students involved and use choral repetition to keep students talking about half a time or half the time. Now, this is depending on how complex the topic is or how much new vocabulary there is. The introduction could take some time, but in most cases, um, about 10 minutes should be sufficient. No more than 10 minutes when you are writing an introduction. When you want to plan your lesson plan, you've got warming up, you've got introduction. Now, your introduction shouldn't be more than 10 minutes. Okay, 10 minutes is a sufficient time for that. Now, the next step, which is practice. Now, the practice activity normally would be about 10 minutes and have students working individually or in pairs. Okay, individually or in pairs. Why? Practicing model dialogues, completing worksheets, doing short activities also would be appropriate. So this may take about 10 minutes, including going over the answer or having some demonstration. This is concerning practice, okay? Your practice, the practice step shouldn't be then more 10 minutes, and in this step you can ask your student to work in individuals or in pairs. You can give them to complete a worksheet or do short activities, or give them a dialogue to play a role, etc., etc. So this concerning practice. Now let's go to production. Now, in the production activity, which is more than practice, in the production activity, students should have to produce material on their own. Okay, not with their partners, but on their own, rather than reading sentences, or perhaps they have to answer questions or make their own sentences. Okay, long activities or longer activities, such as board games, or for example, other games that you can use for your pupils, these games which can be played in groups, or activities for the whole class where students work in teams, and it would be best for them. Okay, now the remaining class time, the remaining time can be devoted to this activity, which is a game or board game, or games for groups. Okay, now this concerning production. Now let's come to review, the step of review, where you are going to check your learners' understanding, etc. and etc. So review. It is good idea to plan another 5 minutes activity that can be done at the end of class as a review, or used as the warm up in the following lesson. If the production activity doesn't take up the remaining portion of the class period or the class time, you have a backup plan. Okay, so this is concerning the steps that you need to follow, or that will help you to write a good lesson plan. Now, there is something important that I want to tell you. The idea behind a lesson plan is that another teacher could pick it up and successfully teach your class without further instructions. Okay. Another thing which is also important, uh, um, when writing lesson plan or lesson plans, you need to be sure about something. You need to be sure to include what part of the textbook you are covering in the lesson. Also, the target structure, the new vocabulary, the direction for all, sorry, the directions for all the activities you intend to use, and the approximate time each section of your lesson will take. As I told you before, the idea behind the lesson plan is that another teacher could pick it up and successfully teach your class without further instructions. Now, if there is an activity where you plan to ask the students questions so that they use the past, for example, the past tense in their responses, write down the questions you plan to ask. Okay. And it is more difficult to think of appropriate questions on the spot, and you are more likely to ask them questions or to do some things using vocabulary they are unfamiliar with as well. If there is a group activity in the lesson, write down about how many students should be in each group, because two to four students is a lot different than 5 to 10. Okay. Now, writing out your lesson plan can also help you figure out what material you must prepare for a lesson, because if your production activity will only take about 10 minutes, then you are obviously going to need an additional activity to end the class with. So thank you, my friends, for watching this video. I hope it was you got something from that video. I hope I helped you. I give you some information about how to write a lesson plan. If there is any question, just write a comment and I will be grateful to answer your comments. And if you enjoy that video, if you like it, don't forget to make a like for the video and to share it with your friends, and also subscribe to this channel in order to get with us always, and you will receive our new videos. Thank you again. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Have a good night, and see you in another video, inshallah.